The game has many faces, and everyone has a story. My name is Jeremy Sheetinger, and come along for the journey as the farm system explores where the game was, where it is, and where it's going. From big league clubhouses to little league parks, this game has a lot to offer. For the first time ever, this series will attempt to pull back the curtain and demystify the game. The stories, those are endless as we pull perspectives from inside professional baseball, down through all levels of college, into high school and youth baseball, the highest levels of softball, business professionals, and even training facilities. Come along as we connect the dots and celebrate the special people from within our community telling their stories from inside the game we all love. This is The Game.
Everyone has a story. My name is Sheets, and this is the story of Georgia Gwinnett. I grew up in Kentucky, so I grew up a basketball fan, and I was that chubby white kid in my driveway playing basketball from sun up to sundown, and that was my passion. That really was. Basketball covered the entire scope of my thoughts on a daily basis, but also didn't have a coach on the baseball end that really connected with me.
Everyone has a story. I'm Adrian Dinkle, and this is the story of Southeastern University. Started up being a kid and growing up in Glendale, Rose Park, Utah. There's three brothers and two sisters, played a bunch in the backyard. Obviously as a player, I didn't play summer baseball, coached at Brighton High School, West High School, and then after that graduated at Bethany. My head coach at the time kept me around, asked me to stay around instead of taking a high school job back in Utah. Just kind of prayed about it, thought about it, and jumped on the ship over there with Bethany and became the associate head coach there, assistant coach for a couple, then associate head the last 2 years. Stayed with him for 2 years, then I went down with another guy named Mike Silva, who's now the head coach at Nicholls State. Me and him were assistants at Bethany, and then we went down to Clarendon together for a couple years. I was the assistant for him for 2, and then I jumped up and took the head job at Sterling, head coach there for 5 years. Now I've been here at Southeastern for the last 6, so I've been going on my 17th year as a college baseball coach. My 12-year-old year, I get drafted by Bud Ritchie to play for him, and he was a guy that had coached all the way through our age group. And he was an extremely passionate teacher. His teams were always looking back, always fundamental. They were always playing for the championship. He was a really good coach, and he drafted me. He called me the night he drafted me. This is a true story. And he said, I drafted you for a reason. I've watched you play all these years. I think you got talent. I don't think anyone's ever worked with you. What happened in that year as well is our house burned down. So I got my house taken away from me. I got all my belongings taken away from me. We were living in a hotel. All I had was baseball practice. And so when I went to baseball practice, it meant a lot more. And then for him to be there and put his hands on me and teach me and make me swing till my hands bled and hit me ground balls and teach me how to set up on the bag, he showed me that there are things of this game I didn't even understand. And that's why it wasn't a passion for me. My 12-year-old years where basketball became the hobby and baseball became the passion.
Gang on me, gang on 3, 1, 2, 3, gang! Be safe.
Going out to the field, 3 or 4 or 5 of us, we'd go to our little league field and we would throw BP to each other and we would take ground balls and hit fly balls. I remember those as vivid as any down at State Stadium, hitting balls into the parking lot and feeling like you're the king of the world, but you couldn't do it in a game, so it didn't matter. But I also love the parts of us playing backyard wiffle ball and keeping stats. And keeping my home run total for the summer, for the months of June, July, and August, and battling my neighborhood best friend for the home run title. You can remember those as vivid as you can make them. And all that goes back to is, that's what's I think so unique about our game is, I played in a lot of one-on-one games in basketball, and I played in a lot of 3-on-3s and all that. And I can remember some moments, but nothing stands out more than the moment of figuring out how to really make a ball curve, how to hone my swing. We were laughing the other day in the office about imitating pro hitters, and I still got a bank of about 50 pro hitters that no young player knows, all the old guys, Terry Pendleton, that I can still do to this day. But I was honing that craft in terms of modeling and looking at the game differently and noticing routines outside the box, noticing swing paths, noticing the way that guys on the mound slowed themselves down. I didn't know what any of it meant, but I could tell that there was a routine to this game that was so much different. So we talk about the mental game lives the 15 seconds between each pitch. And inside that, that's where a whole lot of adjustments are being made. And so as a young player to not really realize what I was seeing, but I was honing in on those actions that have literally come to fruition watching guys from pitch to pitch make adjustments. What fires me up about baseball is the gray, not the black and white that every common fan or Little League dad knows. Anybody can teach you how to field a ground ball, but can you really teach someone how to pre-pitch? Can you really teach someone to mentally get over making an error so they're ready for the next routine ground ball? The gray area of the game is where I've kind of got lost, and that's where the passion for our sport really comes from.
My name is John Topoleski. I am the infield coach and also assist Coach Sheets in hitting, and also basically his right-hand man with anything he needs. The culture within the program, it's basically a family from the moment you get here. If you are a person who just comes in for the day, you'll pretty much shake everyone's hand because each person will come up and shake your hand and introduce himself, ask who you are and about yourself. And Coach Sheets, he establishes that right from the get-go. The players that come in know their role from the beginning, but also the returners make them feel more comfortable than they have to be. Every day they get here, we always tell them that it's a job interview, but at the same time, they're having fun playing baseball and there's no pressure within the program. We try to instill a fail-free environment. So for position-wise, if we're trying to steal a base or we're trying to go take that extra 90 feet, if they get thrown out by 60 feet, it's like, all right, cool. You know what? Now you know your limit and all that stuff. So the culture is very family-like and very failure-free when it comes to that point.
Hey, y'all want to see me do a magic trick? Bam, baby! Y'all didn't know that was coming on. That's some magic right there. All right, listen. This is called the Farm Board Max. Okay, listen, before I already hear the gimmick guy, I already hear the guys coming in with the gimmicks. What's the difference between this thing and also that little farm board that we also got as well? Man, I already got the normal farm boards. We got the Farm Board Max coming out. Okay, listen, this is a brand new tool that we've been utilizing with so many guys in-house. Listen, I've had pro guys tell me, right? Listen, this has changed my life. This is the tool. This is what I've been looking for. This changed everything for me. I won't even bore y'all with all the things. I want you to feel it yourself, okay? So Farm Board Max also is coming with, and you guys been long anticipated. Y'all been blowing me up here for a minute. You guys have been going after me saying, listen, I want a Farm Board Level 2 course. Well, guess what? New tool, new course.
Thank you, Jesus.
And this course, we're gonna cover so many different things. One, about the philosophy, the things that actually, what we got wrong in biomechanics. Yes, I was wrong at certain points in my life too, right? All right, some of them were yesterday, some of them today. We just keep moving, okay? Things we got wrong, things we've learned from having a force plate in-house, different breakthroughs that we've had with athletes, and different ways of looking about utilization within all of that. And also two, drills that are attached to it, and also different ways we use it during prep work. And also, what is the difference between a Farm Board Max and a normal farm board? When do we use it? Why did we need another tool? What's the differences between the two? How do they give unique feels? What is all of that? We're gonna cover all of that in this course.
then it was just how can we do things a little bit different and how can we be more athletic, right? And how can I move more athletic in space? So that was kind of the way we did now, where it's just more centralized now, you know, more technical now, where back then it was, what could we do back then? I remember back in the days, we were trying, how could I hit a ball harder? We would just go get flat basketballs and we would hit it because we were trying to find a way to get it better. And we just found little things to do all the time. I mean, tees, we'd stick tees behind us so we weren't stepping out. And that was kind of our development, was just finding ways to be different. I think is kind of where it's led me now. I still, to this day, I try to be completely different than everybody else in the way we do it. But the development side of things was what can I do to push myself but be different and use more constraints and kind of drive myself? And my friends were the same way. It was just kind of like, how can we be imaginative to have fun and get better in doing it?
The one thing that I think we really kind of prioritize is having a good time, you know, and we mean that, you know, in all seriousness. Like, baseball's supposed to be fun, you know, and you know, we want to bring in the most talented ball players we possibly can. You know, shout out Coach Mendoza, doing an unbelievable job for us now on the recruiting side. You know, we want to bring in talented ball players, but you know, baseball as a business just isn't nearly as fun as baseball as a hobby and a passion. And you know, we want to try and bring that kind of environment, you know, to these guys and give them an opportunity to really enjoy a kid's game.
Where I grew up, it was in inner city area, to where there was a lot of other stuff you were just there to stay out to get out of trouble. That was just honestly it. We didn't have a lot of coaches, you know, by the time until I was like 13 years old that taught us a ton. We just went and played, had a lot of fun with our friends. So that was kind of just our escape to make sure that, you know, we were off the streets. And as we continued there, I started having some coaches that really pushed it into it. But it was just an opportunity for me to have a lot of fun and be around a lot of people.
And that's been a huge priority for us to foster that kind of an environment. And you know, I think we've been fortunate over the years, you know, bringing guys in that buy into that same kind of mentality, you know, both on the coaching staff side and the player side. You know, when everybody kind of buys into that, it's so much more fun for everybody.
There is an expectation here. You know, this group was beaten on the door, finishing fourth 2 years in a row in the World Series. Well, now, hey, you're supposed to be the guy that can take them over the hump. And there's a little bit of that imposter syndrome that wants to creep in. There's a little bit of that fear and doubt that wants to creep in. And I would be lying if I told you there weren't nights that I went, dude, maybe I should pull my name out, because what if? But then I also kept defaulting back, and you know me extremely well. My attitude lends itself to positive. And I just kept thinking, but what if? And at 38 years old, what other challenge am I looking for in life? So everyone says keep the cush job, keep the job that you could have for the rest of your life. But man, I kind of want that challenge. I think if we're always in that mood of getting better, this is an opportunity to find out, man, with no answers to any question you would ask that would be no. If all of them are yes, you have check marks and everything you're looking for, can you go win that last game? And from the minute I made that decision, man, it was over from that point in terms of where I was in my head. There are definite pressures. There's definite expectations. There's things that I interpret, and in fact, having leadership, going back to that, I was feeling some pressure last year because our team just wasn't clicking the way that I expected them to.
The first half of the year, you know, we were kind of struggling, trying to find out who we are. Pitching was always there. It was more the offense, trying to find out what our roles are, how we're going to click and everything. Lost some games to some teams we shouldn't have lost to. But then probably about halfway through, feeling good about ourselves, when we go up to Tennessee Wesleyan and we get slaughtered. 19-0, I think it was. We got back on the bus and we're like, we might not be very good. Like, we couldn't pitch it, we couldn't hit, we couldn't do anything that day. It was probably the worst baseball day we had last year.
And had an athletic director come into my office and close the door and go, why are you putting this pressure on yourself? I've never once told you that you have to win or you lose your job. You'll be our coach here forever. So I'm gonna take that pressure off you. Now just go coach. Go coach in the way that you're meant to go coach. Don't put pressures or expectations on your players or on yourself. And it changed everything.
We played, Middle Georgia came here for midweek the next week, and it was basically the turning point of our year. Tried some new lineups, and I think we won 22 of the next 23. I think we averaged 15 runs a game from that point on. Something clicked within the guys that I've never seen before within a team. You had guys who were not talking at all, holding guys accountable. You had returners holding other returners accountable. And every inning it felt like we're gonna put up 3, 4, 5, 6 runs a game.
It was pretty impressive to watch the presence build game after game. And in fact, I think when we took the field for our very first game of the World Series, I walked ahead of our guys because I wanted to make sure the guys didn't get in the dugout before the other team had cleared out. And I made it about 15 steps down the path on the field, and I felt somebody or something behind me, and it felt like a gorilla. And I literally turned around, and it was just our guys coming in through the gate. And it felt like there was somebody walking up on me. It was our presence. Our guys were so dialed in. We were so full of what we call zeal, which is passion and energy. We had so much of that coming into the ballpark. It was probably 1-0 before we exchanged lineup cards. That was the feeling that we had.
Our ballpark is really big here, but we got to California and we made that field look really small. I think we probably hit 15, 16 home runs in 5 games. And then ended up, luck turned on our side and we won that last game. And then we got to Lewiston, and the leaders and the culture that we had from the beginning, they just said, we're not gonna lose. We're not gonna lose any more games.
What was really cool is the conversations in our dugout, there wasn't any person that was worried. My heart never sank. Even though they scored some runs late, my heart never shook. I knew it was just a matter of time before we made the last out and we were gonna dogpile. That confidence was literally just radiating through our dugout. We trust you, we love you guys. Trust you right here. Hey, take a big deep breath, get back to trust, let's go right here. Things that we had mantraed all year to our players were being present in that moment.
There was never a moment late in the year where I was nervous, because I always had that feeling in the back of my mind, we're gonna win this game. That definitely wasn't the case at the beginning of the year. There's times in the year where I was a little nervous. Moving on the run at the end of the year was just, I have total confidence in everyone that's on the field, and it's gonna turn out really successful, for sure. And we won that last game, and I've never seen more guys cry before, but I've never seen so many people smiling and laughing and just pure joy of winning that last game. And it was a very cool experience, without a doubt. Very cool.
Then you don't. You soon well or you won't. It's a nut cause. And if you don't, then you don't. You soon well or you won't. If you know, then you know. And if you don't, then you don't. You soon well or you won't.
Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you. Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down, give it to you. Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you. Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you.
Ooh, night-night.
So when we went to the World Series with our 2013 Sterling team, we were deer in headlights, man. It was an eye-opening experience. The first time we got to go out to Lewiston, it was, small country boys and big bright city lights. It was a real experience. It was really cool. We rolled in. Everybody was ready to go. Bring a trophy home. But we had no idea what we were up against. We'd never been there. The school had never been there. There was nobody in the community that had any idea what that was all about. We wish things could have gone a little differently while we were out there, obviously, but it provided a nice framework for, you know, the teams that came after. And you know, we went back in 2016. If it wasn't for that first time that we went out there with that 13 group, shout out to the boys that laid the groundwork, and it was fun, man.
I mean, everybody, that's the question you get all the time. What's it like to win your first national title? You want to know what it was? It was excitement to know that everything that what you did and everything that you worked for a long time, you know, finally come true. Because at the end of the day, you know, besides, you know, making sure that you know, develop men and leaders out in our community, is to win a national title. And that's what those guys, a lot of us came to do, was such accomplishment. But I think the feeling was I wanted my family on the field to enjoy that with me. But after that, that's it.
When you finally win that last game, there's this, I think for guys that haven't been there, there's this expectation that once you win it, somebody comes down and hands you a pill or a book, and you take the pill and you open the book and you've got all the answers you need. It doesn't change anything if before that game you were happy with who you were. I think we're always searching for this validation that this win is going to change everything, when in fact it doesn't change anything except that team was successful in that moment. But I was still happy with who I am. I'm still confident in who I am as a coach and as a person, as a father. And as players, I wanted them to understand the world will treat you differently now that you're a winner, but it shouldn't change the way you view yourself.
And it was just my immediate thought was, hey, try to enjoy this. But my immediate thought was, how do we get back and do that again? And that was kind of, I get that question quite a bit. And it's just like, yeah, man, like we did all that for that. We'll always remember it. It's obviously a once in a lifetime opportunity, but we just felt like it did show everything, that how we were developing our guys as men and as baseball players, that we were going in the right way, that we were recruiting the right type of players, and we were in the right spot. But as far as, you know, the feeling myself, it was excitement for 24 hours, and let's move on to the next year, and hopefully can do it again.
We went back, and it was comfortable. It was so much easier. We knew where to be. We knew kind of how to handle ourselves out there. And I think that because we had, you know, as a staff, we kind of were comfortable out there, I think that translated to the players a little bit. You know, most of those players had never been in that situation and been out there. But then when we were calm and we were cool and collected, they knew that they were all right. You know, they were in good hands, and it was really fun. And we were fortunate that, you know, we were healthy and things were rolling the way they were in 2018. You know, we had an unbelievable arsenal of arms that we're able to roll out, and you know, we flipped a couple guys the ball and just, you know, took a nap in the dugout because we knew we were going to get, you know, 7, 8, 9 strong innings out of these guys, and the offense was rolling too, and it all clicked in 2018 for us. And then, you know, and winning that whole thing was such an unbelievable experience. You know, that's something that you know, both Adrian and myself will never forget.
Oh yeah, we told you these heavy balls are coming, babe. Look, there's a couple things that we saw in the market that we just had to make our own balls, right? So the first thing, I hate when heavy balls don't have laces. They're harder to toss, they're harder to hit, and again, visually for the hitters, they can see the laces. Awesome for that. The other thing that we saw in the market as well is that there's all these balls with different weights, and so they were all different colors. Our hitters started to cheat based on what weight that they knew that was coming. We didn't want them to do that. So now we have 3 or 4 different weights, we'll get to that in a minute, that are all the same color. So hitters can't cheat based on how heavy the ball is that they know that's coming in. Or we go all the way down to a 5-ounce ball. It's also focused on contact quality. And then the last thing as well, the balls on the market weren't heavy enough. So we have a 1.5 pound ball. So it is the heaviest hitting ball on the market to give our hitters more feedback of what it feels like to brace and have an impact with a ball that's coming at a high rate of speed. So we utilize this a lot for our high school, our college guys, and our pro guys. So we put all those into one package. And we also got our softballs that are coming out as well. Don't worry, they're coming here soon. But again, we saw that there was a lapse in the market for our softball girls. We got y'all. They're all coming. Let's get into the videos. You know, all of it is in one piece, just like always. Let's do it.
My name is Evan Wise. I'm the pitching coach and recruiting coordinator at Georgia Gwinnett College. I had prior history to Georgia Gwinnett College prior to Sheets, so I had an idea what the area was going to be like, what the team was going to be like, you know, the makeup. But then, you know, kind of learning who he is through the interview process, and gaining knowledge about what the new culture here is all about and what they've been striving to build here for the last few years, and you know, how it came to fruition last year and things went very well. Were very positive things to walk into.
This is my second year with Sheets. Being with him, it's you know what you're gonna get every day. He's the same person every day. He's gonna cut up with you, crack some jokes, but at the end of the day, he's gonna say I love you. I care about you. If you have anything you ever need, I got your back no matter what. Phone call away, text message away. He'll always, he'll invite me over for dinner sometimes just to hang out, watch some baseball, talk baseball, but also talk life. Him and I have really bonded the last couple, months and over the summer with everything. And being with him, I know exactly who he is, and I know I'm getting to know when he's upset or when something's on his mind. And I'll go into his office, close the door, and be like, all right, what's up? What you gotta talk about? But it's really nice to be with a guy who's the same guy every single day, but the players and the coaches every year, they love him, and he can really get the best out of every person that shows up to campus.
If you're willing to put yourself out there and you're willing to do things that are a little outside the box and you're willing to walk towards a challenge, you've already separated yourself from the pack. Well, in the world we live in today, when you separate, you're on the outside. And when you're on the outside, you open yourself up to a lot of conversations or judgment or opinions for a variety of reasons. And that's actually one thing I've completely embraced.
First year you get him, you're like, oh, this guy on Twitter, he's wearing these big glasses, he's showing off the baby blues, all this stuff. But when you really get to know him and you sit down with him and talk to him, you really understand that he's a great guy and he'll do anything for you, and he'll love you no matter what.
My dad said this a long time ago, and I've always held on to it. You either wake up every day with enthusiasm and passion, or one day you're gonna get fired with it. And so you just put yourself in a place of, man, that's who I am, and that's how I'm engineered, and I'll be super positive, and I'll be super passionate. I love to share. I love to help others. And you're just gonna put stuff out, and the world can decide what they wanna do with it. But what you know, and what I know, is you put out one video with one message that hits one person, it's all worth it. And so when you go back to that, if you or I or anyone were to bridle that, that wouldn't be fair to the world. You gotta give that, again, blessed with the gift maybe from our God, but I gotta give that out, and I gotta share that in some way. Now, that's just the way I am, it's the way we're gonna lead, but it's also what's changing things inside the walls of our program. So there's a lot to this that we're following suit with, but we also, at the end of the day, you're gonna put your head down at night and know that you're being true to yourself. That's more important than anything that you do in life.
The foundation that this university gives me, and the universities that I've been at, man, I got an unbelievable administrative staff here that allows me to be home.
What makes Southeastern different than some of these other places that I've been, a lot of it has to do with one location. Obviously, we're in Central Florida. Hard to argue with Central Florida. This is an easy place to fall in love with, especially as a baseball player. But the support that we get, man, the support, from the administrative side, our athletic director, Drew Watson, does an unbelievable job.
Dr. Engel, Dr. Chris Owen, and my athletic director, Drew Watson. The support with those guys, it's unbelievable. It's second to none. Bottom line is, we can't compete at the level that we're competing at without those guys in our corner. And they love athletics. They support athletics, they push for athletics, and they want us to win at a high level.
It really puts us in a position where we can go out and do what we need to do to be successful, kind of, grooming these young men to be, good ball players, but, good students, good, hopefully good husbands, and, good fathers down the road too.
So from the NAIA perspective, we're around 200 programs and a lot of faith-based institutions. So if you go across the country, schools that have multiple sports, but we're just not in that Division II or Division I atmosphere. It's just a different climate. It's a completely different association.
I would love to see it get the respect that it deserves. I think that we're still fighting that battle of the blue label versus the NAIA, where you guys have seen it, man. You put those guys on the field, they're going to be able to play with anybody. And we are guys now that are getting pumped out. They're going to the Cape. They're playing on, they're representing at a high level, and they're doing it. I would love for it to show now with this whole transfer portal and everything that our guys can stay at that level.
I think if you're playing the top 10 of our level, they're a group of guys that could walk into a lot of Division I conferences and do fairly well on a weekend.
We're one of 2 teams in the country that gets to play a pro team. We get to play the Detroit Tigers. You know, they open their spring training with us every single year. So our guys get that experience when they jump on the field. They get to go see those big leaguers. They get to get on the field. They get to go see the guy that was the 1-1 overall. You know, sometimes the year before, or you're going to look on there and see most of those guys that's in that starting rotation, and they get to see it. And a lot of our guys get to face those hitters, and they get to show it off. And so they get to see where they stand. They get to see the difference between what they look like and what a professional athlete looks like.
The opportunity we have is to let people and players go out and find their own way. Because you got a bunch of guys, especially coming up as a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, you feel like that Division I sweatshirt's going to solve every issue you've ever had. And that's all you know. When we watch TV, Division I regionals are on. They're not highlighting the NAIA World Series at that point. So I think it's changing that mindset that you can go chase whatever path you want to go, but the majority of guys in our locker room right now all chase Division I, but they're here at Georgia Gwinnett. Followed junior college for a variety of reasons. Things didn't fall into place maybe academically, and they're inside our locker room. And I think you open yourself up to the ability to help guys understand that the perfect path sometimes is the twisted path. Sometimes you have to go there to end up here. And now you appreciate what we have, but you also look back and appreciate where you've been.
When you follow your passions, you're going to end up where you need to be and where God intended. And that's I think, for all these years that I've spent, you know, working with Coach Dinkle and staying in the coaching game, you know, it's not for a lack of hard work and sticking to it. You know, there were a number of years that, you know, it would have been easy to, you know, just go get a job as an accountant, you know, go do something else, go get a job at a bank. You know, sticking with the passion and staying committed to what you think is your calling is important, is really important. And those that, you know, do stick it out are the ones that are able to, you know, make an impact on some of the guys that they coach. And I think, you know, for anybody that's out there thinking it's just a grind, it's a grind. It is a grind. It's absolutely a grind. And if you can't appreciate the grind for what it is, maybe you do need a different job. But if that grind is what motivates you and gets you going and gets you out of bed every day, this is it for you.
Player development was a little archaic, a little behind the times, and a little not from a place of sharing, not from a place of constantly learning. It was kind of, we've always done it this way. That's the way I would characterize it. Bringing in the technology, I think what it's done is bringing these measurement tools that have helped advanced coaches, the things that we thought we were seeing, now there's a number behind it.
And nowadays kids are learning through screens, they're learning through teachers, they're learning through experience. So this is just another angle to get at them with. And it's also another way to hold each other accountable, right? If I'm not doing a good enough job making you throw harder and it's constantly saying you're throwing slower, then I'm not doing a good job. Or if we see a spin rate drop or a movement drop or something along those lines, and I'm able to notice it. Offensively, we can see if a hitter makes adjustments and we don't see good numbers come off the bat, then potentially it could be a movement issue. So like I said, it's one of our best accountability partners as well as something that we can use to learn and teach with.
Not afraid to blend the old school with the new school, but I wanted to be completely different than everybody else, and how can I make guys better and listen, be more open. Where early it was more about what I was doing, how I was doing it, compared to how can I make these guys better and respect their time. Where it's going is probably a place of a blend of the quote-unquote old school and new school. I love the fact that the analytical side burst into baseball and it changed and challenged. But at the same time, I think there's going to be this little revert back to, let's not lose the essence of the game and get lost in that side, but know that that side is helping you change the essence of the game. And I think there's a good combination of both. That I think the really good organizations that are making runs in the playoffs, they're groups that recognize both sides of that conversation.
Everybody has a story. My name's Kevin Davidson, and this is a story of Baseball Club.
Everyone has a story. I'm Bobby Tewksbury, and this is the story of Pelotero.